So after the dramatic spike in the coronavirus that we've seen this week, particularly on Thursday, now China officials are reporting lower counts with more than 120 new deaths and more than 5,000 new cases confirmed in China. The totals are 64,000 people are confirmed to have it. China also says more than 1,700 medical workers have been infected. Of those, tragically, 6 have died. Factory shutdowns in China are affecting the wedding industry here in the US and worldwide, frankly. The coronavirus is choking international supply lines for garment manufacturers and makers. CNN's Clare Sebastian is visiting a company in New Jersey that relies on China to turn a profit. I am frankly surprised that the lineage and linkage can be made so positively and directly between companies in China and wedding dresses in New Jersey.
Well, Richard, the apparel industry is really vulnerable. 42% of all clothing sold in the U.S. comes from China. It is right in the firing line. And for a business like this, you can see this factory is full of dresses. There's prom dresses. These are mother of the bride dresses. They also sell wedding dresses. 90% of the product here comes from China, and they are facing serious disruption. The Lunar New Year was extended this week. Their factories have been really struggling to get back to work. They say half of them have come back online, but they're still waiting for their workers to return. They're still waiting for the factories to be cleaned and disinfected and other things like that. And that's something, Richard, you and I have been discussing throughout the week. We've been hearing across the board. Things are very slowly creaking back to life in China. They're still facing problems with logistics and freight and cargo. It goes through the supply chain. And this is why a business like this is having to tell customers that they might face delays. So I think we're starting to see that things could eventually trickle down to the consumer.
If that happens, I mean, weddings will continue to take place and proms will happen, although they may not have dresses from the manufacturer or the supplier that you've got. What plans are they putting in place to help alleviate that? How can they source their stuff elsewhere, if they can?
Well, they have actually, Richard, started to diversify as a business. I think we should bring in the CEO of the company over here, Steve Lang, right by this rather lovely wedding dress, to tell us more about that. Steve, tell us, if these supply chains take a little time to get up and running, what are your plans? What are your contingency plans here?
Well, of our 45 factories, half are back online. The other half, we're waiting for them to get their workers back. But, of course, a lot of the fabric mills are closed. And a lot of people, even who make outside of China in our industry, it started to happen a couple of years ago, and we, too, started to diversify. A lot of our materials still come from China. So it's kind of a waiting game to try and figure out what's happening right now. But we have started to diversify. We're in Vietnam. We're in Myanmar, we're in India. As a matter of fact, our main India factory is here today. So we're lucky that in this warehouse, we should have 50,000 units right now. We have 35,000. And the other distribution centers around the globe probably have at least another 35,000 units. So that 70,000 units is really about 2 months' supply. So we're in a situation where we are getting shipments. They're coming in slowly. But it's a waiting game for us and you know, the entire country and people who are involved in apparel as well as technical goods.
So a huge amount of uncertainty. I want to ask you about another element of uncertainty over your business, and that's tariffs. We have the Phase 1 trade deal kicking in today. Tariffs on apparel are coming down from 15% to 7.5%. Tell us, say, on a dress like this, what kind of numbers are you seeing in terms of tariffs? How does this affect you?
On clothing, and again, you're right that 42% of all duties are paid by the apparel industry. So our normal duty rate before the tariffs went in was 16%.
Right.
So now we were hit with 15, which brought us to 31. So now the 15 has been cut to 7.5. But again, a lot of the merchandise we've been bringing in since September, we have paid that higher rate, cost us millions of dollars. That right out of cash flow. Luckily, we're a financially strong company. We've passed a little bit of along to the consumer, but for every $100 of goods we bring in, we were paying 31 cents, which is inordinate, and we couldn't pass all that along to our customers. So we ate 2/3 of it, but it's a big hurt. And again, those duties are being paid by us, the Americans. They're not being paid by the foreign countries as opposed to what you hear in the news. We're paying those duties, and it's, in some ways comes out of our food, our food to eat, and as well as our customers. So it's painful.
So this dress, you were at 31 cents on the dollar. You're now down to 23.5 cents, Richard. Even when these products do start being imported again, there's a double layer of uncertainty over an industry like this. You've got coronavirus, you've got tariffs, but this business says, as you heard, they are strong enough to weather this.
The interesting thing there, Claire, is that this is the real-life economy. Thank you for showing us that. Much appreciated. Thank you very much.